Good evening. It's Thursday evening. It's the fourth day of September in the year of our Lord 2019. And at this time, in this space, on a Thursday evening, it's time for Mek We Chat. I'm Jerry George, your host, and thanking you for joining us for another edition of Mek We Chat, when we will take the things around the region, look at them, discuss them in our own candid manner, and even invite your participation. Right now, we have in our show some of the usual suspects. George Grant is at controls there. I'm not seeing everybody, but let me see. George Grant is at the controls. Margaret is in New York. Produce. Now we get in the swan. I don't know the swan song, but the swan wave. Now, our producer, Beverley Sinclair, is also in Grenada. I'm yours truly, Jerry George. Folks, where's everyone else? Let me
Well,
see.
I think I saw an email squeaked in from Aki earlier saying that he would, like about 10 minutes ago, saying that he won't be able to make it tonight because they required him for something else.
Okay, okay.
So that I saw squeaked in. I don't know what happened to Dwyer and
Well,
Catherine.
yeah, well,
Catherine says she has Wi-Fi issues,
Okay, okay.
and I don't know if I saw a note from Dwyer. Yes, he sent a note just a while ago to I would think, which says, Dwyer says if he can join tonight, he's going to be late.
fair enough.
Yeah, so it's just us for now.
It's
Oh,
just us.
what a thing, what a thing.
I know, right? Ain't that something? Mm, 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 mm,
I'm
mm.
also going to be late. Actually, what you're seeing right now is just an
You're going to be late.
yeah. What you're seeing is an apparition.
Who's that?
Oh, what we're seeing is an apparition.
I'm not hearing George. George is very low.
Are,
Yeah, speak up, George.
are you hearing me?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Somewhere in the distance, yes.
Yeah, you sound like Dorian. Take piece of your voice and go with it.
Probably did.
Dorian, Dorian, I tell you.
Boy,
Yeah. So I I I did not hear what George just said.
Oh, he said he's not there. What you're seeing is an apparition.
oh,
Oh, okay.
all right. All
He's adopted tonight.
Yeah, yeah,
Duppy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's a duppy tonight.
Well, it must be a ducky or a gunman. I man not find out yet.
Oh
By
my.
the way, it looks like tonight's obviously going to be a kind of weird night. I'm seeing somebody here. I'm not sure. It might be for the first time. Ronald Joseph, and I just like the way he spells hello. Hellow. So he's saying hello to everyone. Kipling's also checking in, and
Hello, hello.
Jerry Ronald says I've missed your programs in the morning.
Who's that? Who said it?
Ronald Joseph.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, but we'll be there all being well again.
Well,
Yeah.
are all there online somewhere. That's
Yep.
the that's
All
the
is
good thing
available.
about. Mhm. That's the wonderful thing about the type of media we have. I can tell George I never miss any of his shows.
You can tell George what?
You never miss any of your shows.
Oh no, I watch them all.
Just get back. Just get them later.
Yeah, I never miss any of Jerry's shows.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right.
When are you starting yours, Margaret?
What?
When are you starting your shows?
Oh, please.
Again, we got that on.
Uh,
I don't know,
you guys have enough for me.
things just seem a little bit sideways tonight.
Sideways.
I can't think of any other word to describe it. I mean, first of all, um, Dwyer is a maybe for later on. Catherine is having internet problems. Arthi is what? Arthi is,
Called
Yeah,
away to another meeting.
yeah,
yeah.
his wisdom is required elsewhere.
All right. All right. Anyhow, we shall survive.
Yes, we shall.
Yes, we
So
shall.
we started, don't forget,
We did.
this is where we started.
Absolutely so.
Yep.
Yeah. And I remember when we used to have a regular suspect from Trinidad.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, what happened to him?
I think he has abandoned us somehow. The
Somehow,
other day, though,
somehow,
I spoke with him recently, about 2 weeks ago, and he did tell me to send his love to everyone. I did forget. I remember now. So Mr. Alexander from over there in Trinidad says to tell all the suspects he still loves them all
Oh,
in absenteeism.
yeah, I hear
I
you.
know. I'm so touched.
Yes. Yes. Right. So we had a few issues to look at tonight, as we usually do. Some of them are local, some of them local meaning Grenada, and but happily most of them are regional since we don't have all our usual suspects with us tonight. But what we had planned to look at was no apology from the press secretary in Grenada. We want to look at CBI projects facing legal battles, and this group called BACOL, BACOL, making the rounds in the OECS, and top of the discussion, Whither the Bahamas post Dorian.
Yeah.
That is where we wanted to have discussions tonight, and that is where we will have discussions tonight. You know, we're still sending out condolences to those in the Bahamas, those who have lost family, those who have lost friends, those who have lost belongings. We have people in the Bahamas who have just lost
I
everything.
posted,
I
I
know.
posted, I posted a video just before while we were chilling, where this lady tells a couple of the stories. Just,
Why, why
and
are the Georgies so quiet?
I am.
Yes.
All along I thought I was good, finally didn't complain. No, I'm saying I posted a video a little bit earlier where this lady was telling of some of what happened. How a whole family got together for those kids, waters of your husband's chest, and had to decide whether they're going to open the door to let them in or not. One of the children was a paraplegic. She said, listen, people just watch the way. And I agree with the lady. You're just gonna have a lot of missing people.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
what's the toll now? Up to 20, I think?
27.
27.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this story. I saw this. Heard this guy who talked about swimming with his son, and he had put the son on the roof. I guess with the water at the level, and by the time he turned around, the son flipped to the other side, and son
Yeah,
went away, and he just survived.
That is mad.
5-year-old son.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more of those
Oh,
Yeah.
stories as communication becomes more,
but
and people are able to land in those areas and see. Oh my God!
the same lady said one of the people who came, one of the children they swam over with was a 5-month-old child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was that the same person that was in the initial video where she was saying that she had a baby with her?
No, no,
Oh, that's
No,
another one.
no. That's a
Okay.
different one. Yeah, this one
I think
said,
that one was safe in the sense that she was upstairs with house, but this one had to swim from their home and against the tide with a 5-month-old child.
Wow.
she said they actually put the children because they had two small children, one who is physically disabled with cerebral palsy, and they put the children on a mattress and just kind of kept them afloat on the mattress until they got to their door.
Wow.
By the time they got to their door, the water was neck high, but they chose to open the door and let them in. And her husband put people up in the rafters in the roof, and and that is how they survived.
Incredible. Absolutely.
Horrific
Yeah, yeah. There
stories.
was this other guy that I saw where he said his wife died from hypothermia because the
Yeah.
water came so high up and she climbed up on the kitchen counter, but even that was not high enough.
Well, it crumbled after a while because
Right, yeah.
Guys, let me interrupt here for just a minute. It seems like we are definitely having an issue tonight because I see here Tony Ben is saying, "Good evening, guys. Jerry, your volume is very low." I'm hearing Margaret loud and clear. I am hearing Beverly loud and clear, but Jerry is somewhere down the road. Um, how are you guys hearing me? Are you hearing me okay, Bev?
Yeah,
A
I'm
little
hearing you okay.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
better than when we started.
Okay. But John says, "Sorry, Margaret, I won't be late again. Honest." Margaret, let me tell you, this guy respects you. He doesn't like being given lines to write. Um, Ernesto is saying howdy, and Ronald Joseph is also saying the voices are very low tonight. Well, perhaps, Ronald, it's because we did not have dinner.
Oh no, I did.
Well, you did? Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
your voice is okay. Your voice is okay. Ah,
Well,
Fried
I
breadfruit.
stop, Margaret.
and by the way, Claude Putner is also saying hi to you guys and sending his blessings. So Beverly,
Yeah.
not Beverly, Jerry, let me hear you now. Let's see if you're any better.
is this any better?
Yes, it is a little bit better,
Yeah, it's still kind of low, but
but still
Hold on,
low.
what I could do.
What you need to do is just speak loudly.
Yeah,
exactly.
let's
What
hear
happened
it
to your
from down
throat?
there, Jerry.
Eh?
Yeah. Why is he so subdued?
I don't
Yeah.
understand. I am speaking as normally I would.
Yeah, right.
Yes, and we said to speak loudly. I didn't say anything about normal.
We need to rise him up. What can we
Get
think
in the
about?
get in the voice box and project.
Get
Yeah.
get a rant going.
All right, good. We need to get him all riled up, and then probably the volume will rise.
Let's see what to do.
Right.
Let me see
So
here. John is saying, all good bar. Don't understand what that means. All good bar, Jerry. Donna Joseph is saying good evening to you guys, and so is Fitzroy Adams and Arthur Langine as well from New York. He says from big time. Oh, Arthur Langine is Mr. Pope. Do you guys remember that person who used to call us here, Mr. Pope?
yes.
Ah,
Oh yes.
now the cat is out of the bag, Mr. Langine. Well, well, well. So we now know who Mr. Pope is. Isaac is saying good night, suspects. Can fracking be Can fracking be a part of your chat tonight since our government has New Zealand experts planning to search for
Oh,
energy in our mountainous region? Beverly, you want to answer that one?
Uh, I do not have a lot of information on it right now. It is something I have heard, but it can be mentioned,
Okay.
he said, but the discussion will not be deep until we have some more information about what's going on. We know that geothermal exploration is going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Dominica. I am not sure if that is what they are trying to do in Grenada as well. since they're up in Mount St. Catherine, which is also supposed to be a volcano, so we can touch on the fracking especially from the perspective that nothing was announced about. I didn't hear any announcement about it, certainly. I haven't seen any information being put out from the official
Right.
sources
Neither have I.
about this exploration going on. So I've heard it. I certainly have not been up into Mount St. Catherine to see what is happening up there. And I have not talked to anyone with first-hand information. So, Isaac, I've heard about it. Don't know what's happening, but you can just well believe that something is happening because there is word on the ground that he says they're New Zealanders, that these people are there. I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what they're supposed to be doing. As usual, the officials of this country who manage and operate the country's resources don't seem to feel the need to keep the population informed about what is happening with the resources of the country.
Why should they? Why should they, Beverly? Why should they? They're only our employees. I mean, come on. You're expecting too damn much, young lady.
Maybe I expect little integrity and for people in public office to treat the population with some kind of respect.
I think you're expecting too much, Beverly.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
come
maybe
on.
maybe I am expecting too much, but it's either that or if you have no expectation, then you just become a mindless sheep going along with whatever is happening, and my brain refuses from going there.
Snap out of it, Beverly. Snap out of it. This is Grenada 2019, man. And by the way, Opie says, do take note that New Zealand has been having numerous earthquakes, and fracking may be the causes of their earthquakes.
Okay, I know Jerry is a man who pays a lot of attention to earthquakes. So I don't know if he knows anything about these.
I don't think New Zealand had some recently, but I don't think I can really say they have that level of earthquake.
Well, I do know that in the U.S., there have been several states where fracking is taking place, and Oklahoma is one of those.
Yeah.
And they have had a series of earthquakes which people have tied to that whole fracking thing as well.
That is
So,
in in Canada, in
yeah,
Calgary and stuff. But as
Yeah.
I said, don't know for sure that New Zealand has a lot of that. But they had a fairly large earthquake maybe about 8 weeks ago. But outside of that, I can't think of any earthquakes that they might have. By the way,
Well,
are you hearing me any better?
just a little bit. You're still low, but I'm hearing you at least. Margaret,
What about,
huh?
what about now?
What?
About now?
What? You're not hearing me now?
No, yeah.
I'm hearing Margaret loud and clear.
Oh,
And some
Oh,
people
Margaret is loud and clear as a bell.
from day one.
Yes. Yes. But I wanted to go back to Bahamas a little bit, just to let our audience know that avenues for helping the Bahamas are open. And we do not intend here to set up any new assistance stream for the Bahamas. There are many up there. NADMA, the National Disaster Management Agency in Grenada, has an official bank account at the Port Bank. I should have gotten the account number, but I didn't. I'm sorry. I don't know if George has it. But there is an account at the Grenada Cooperative Bank set up by NADMA to collect funds for the Bahamas. And NADMA will also be collecting physical items to send up to the Bahamas. I know that this church group, the Evangelical Church Group, has been working with the Samaritan Purse to get immediate food items up there to the Bahamas. So anyone who wants to send up stuff right away, they have a system in place where they can get stuff to the Bahamas very quickly. So you could contact them Evangelical Churches Association. I'm not exactly sure of the name of the organization, but it's the Evangelical Church Group. And you could contact them if you want to send something up to the Bahamas. But I believe that every single person, if it is one pack of Pampers, if it is one case of water, want to know that the Grenada Empowerment Movement, they have also set up something to collect food and fund and assistance for the Bahamas as well. So if you want to help people, praying, yeah, I mean, everybody and their mother have been praying for the Bahamas from since day one of the hurricane. So now it's time to get to work and do something. Go out there and whatever you have, give it for the people of the Bahamas. They are, that distress is beyond anything we have seen. And I said it to a colleague I was speaking with the other day, you know, when we were hit with Ivan in 2004, it was the worst we had ever seen. And then after that, we got some other hurricane, which was the worst we had ever seen. And every single time a hurricane hits, it's the worst we have ever seen. And we don't think it will get any worse. And somehow these storms, these hurricanes seem to be getting worse. When Maria hit Dominica in 2017, that was the worst we had ever seen. When the BVI and those islands got wiped out and Puerto Rico, it was the worst and we cried over the distress. And look at what has happened in the Bahamas now. Now this is the worst we have ever seen. There are towns and communities in those Bahama Islands that were hit, which are just going to disappear. They are not going to be there anymore. When the water recedes, it's going to be a different Abaco, a different Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
And people are going to be rebuilding from zero. So those of us who can, it doesn't matter how much. Sometimes when you want to give, you know, if you have to be like this guy who have 100 generators to give, not everybody is going to be able to give 100 generators. Not everybody can give one. But when someone is in need and you can give them a can of baby food, something, there are needs across the spectrum.
Bev,
So, yes, George.
you know, that's all well and good, but I do hope it's going to be done in an organized way. The reason why I say that, very often there are people who make a lot of donations to these causes, but they go to waste because of disorganization.
That
And
is true.
that is why I prefer in this case, if you could send them cash so they could determine what they want. The other thing about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is that because they're so close to Miami, getting stuff um, getting stuff is way easier than trying to send it from down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. But I'm not excusing it, and I'm not saying it should be, because by now we should have learned how to manage these kinds of operations. But there is going to be some level of disorganization in the whole thing, especially as a lot of people are disoriented. And we know that countries have mobilized to send people there on the ground. Jamaica actually has a disaster response unit, which when things happen like this, they just put that unit together and they're deployed. We see the CARICOM heads and other officials who have been up there. So a lot of planning and things are going to be going on. But while that is going on, people are in need now. So there is going to be some level of disorganization with stuff that comes in for distribution. We hope that the people on the ground, the Red Cross and the Samaritan's Purse and the soldiers and the volunteers and everybody else will do their best to get things to people in the quickest way possible and in the best way they can. Because even today, a lot of the islands are still only accessible by boat, just still on the water. And until that water recedes, and I mean, we're not talking about simple flooding, we're talking about Noah flood. In the days when the water reached the highest peak of the mountain, That's the kind of flooding we're talking about. When you look at those pictures and you see the level of the water compared to like utility poles, you can tell that water is way up there. 2-story, 3-story buildings, covered, roof barely peeping out. That is a serious flood. So a lot of places still not accessible as yet and only accessible by boat. So we can only hope that those on the ground will do their best. Just like that girl in one of the videos, she said, we need help. All she can say is, we need help. Because there are people within those flood ravaged communities that need to get out.
Yeah.
When you think of the children, when you think of those who really can't help themselves on a regular basis and to be in this kind of condition, it breaks my heart. I don't know about nobody else, So people, whatever you can do it,
Bev,
and don't think it's insignificant. Just do it.
here's a suggestion being made by Ernesto. He says, I think monetary assistance will be better because they are a distance away. So it might be a problem shifting foodstuff at this time when countries closer will be giving them foodstuffs as well.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
that's a good recommendation, but I don't know what everyone's resources and everyone's capacity to give is. So each person will know. Eventually, they will be in need today, tomorrow, next week. So those who can get food to them quickly, that is fine. Those who can get cash to them quickly, that is fine. Whatever you can get to them, get it there. But just do something to help, whatever it is. This this is just a horrible situation.
Arthur Langine is asking, Bev, what is your government giving?
Well, the one announcement I've heard from the government is part of the OECS initiative, where each island in the OECS has pledged 100,000 US dollars to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I heard
So
that.
it will be $800,000 coming from, and I don't know for the associate members at the OECS, but the members, the full members, each has pledged 100,000 US. So that will be 800,000 US at least coming from the OECS, and I hope they don't just pledge, I hope they do, because our OECS governments are just mean to mama guy people. I really hope they give them the money.
Yeah, that's my thinking
And
too.
in a timely fashion.
And in a timely
Timely
fashion, just
fashion,
like
yeah.
they find it to throw behind Leah and all other kind of stupid. I really hope they send the money.
Some of them would say they put behind me, I think even put not. That's another story.
You know?
Jerry, your
So,
voice gone again.
Voice on again.
Jerry just need to
Yeah.
open his mouth and speak.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I
he
think
keeps
so.
going down in his throat. I don't know why.
Actually, Ernesto says, Jerry, project your voice a little louder.
There you go.
All right. Let me project my voice. Is that better?
That's
Yes,
better.
much better, sir. Keep it there.
So we now know where the problem was. It was a lack of projection.
Check.
In my throat.
I done.
Projectile.
I done.
Oh gosh. You see, Margaret, you and I ain't going there.
And no, we ain't going there at all.
We ain't talking about. We ain't talking about.
Well, look at that. Show off. Show off. I could show off too, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, right. I could show off too.
Well, let's see it, girl. Let's see it.
So wait. So
Oh,
why
you,
have we gone to the
oh, you want to see? All right, hold on.
All right.
All right.
She has gone to pull out the big guns.
This is rank discrimination.
So we better get flat. Ooh! Jerry.
That is what today. Most of
Okay,
the
all together now. Come on.
Jerry,
Don't go there.
Jerry.
Don't go there.
Jerry, what is sporting?
Don't go there.
Oh gosh. All right. Good, very good. Yes. And We may have more to tell you about these mugs soon. You see,
Collect,
don't
Exactly,
worry.
exactly.
We
Don't
ain't.
worry.
We
collector's
don't want
items, man.
anybody left out.
Collector's items. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. So folks, as we wrap up about the Bahamas and take our first break, just do what you can do.
I don't know. What we have is still is difficult, you know. If you live the experience that for 24 hours, a storm just sat there.
40, 40
40, sorry,
hours.
yeah, 40 hours. I mean, the terror of just hearing that wind must be something people never, ever, ever.
No, no, those people are gonna need counseling. They're
That's trauma.
traumatized. Yeah, they are traumatized.
That's trauma.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. The night when I heard them say it was moving at 1 mile an hour, I
Can
was
you
like, "Did you
believe
hear
that?
that right?" So I get up the
Yeah,
next morning and I'm on the computer.
yes.
Dorian, 1 mile an hour? Because I couldn't believe I heard 1 mile an
I
hour.
walk faster than that.
You know, because I heard the report first that it was moving slower than the average person walks. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But that Dorian, it's not yet dead. I don't know if it's a male or a female storm because that name is very generic. Dorian can be either.
Well, we're dealing with gender, so it's chance to could be chance. Let's go.
But Dorian is not yet dead. Dorian is still out there throwing tornadoes in the South Carolinas right now, in the Carolinas in the US. I heard some reports coming out of the South Carolina that they already had deaths recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
As a result,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, 3 deaths were recorded this afternoon as a result
okay.
in the
Wow.
US.
Okay.
So people go out and do what you can. When things like these happen, it should in many ways bring us back to our frailty and our humanity and remind us that as much as we like to think we are big, bad, and powerful, we are not.
And the
Yeah,
next
that's
thing
the
is,
reality of that. It's like I had this girl at work. She's from Ghana, so she was saying, well, don't you guys build concrete houses there? Yes, we do. But guess what? You can't fight nature.
that's
Doesn't
right.
matter
Exactly.
what you do. Whenever it's
Precisely so.
ready to do what it wants to do, there is nothing to withstand it. It's as simple as
Especially,
that.
especially
Yeah.
water. I scared of.
Yes.
Exactly, especially water.
Especially, yes, because I saw this other video with this guy who showed the water just open his front door and come in.
Yeah.
Before,
No knocking.
yeah, yes. I don't even know if it knock. It just open the door and come in.
Exactly. It
First,
was just
of
hello.
course, you're gone on the second floor because you're running away, and the water coming in, and he's up there watching out the
Exactly.
furniture get up, try to climb the stairs because the water is just there doing what it wants to do, and there is nothing you could do about it. You just stay there and you watch.
You know,
You know?
the video files we're seeing of the rescue missions that are taking place, they're very, very heart wrenching. But I'll tell you something that really hit me hard the other day. I was looking at the two pictures that were on the CNN website. These are satellite pictures. One of Abaco before the storm hit,
Yeah.
and two after. Did you guys see the
Yeah, I
erosion?
saw that. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you're like, it's not the same place.
My
Yeah.
God.
It's
Awesome.
not.
And yeah, just getting back here to social media for a minute. Ernesto says, I'm appealing to governments also to open their doors to accommodate some of the citizens from the Bahamas who have no home and nowhere else to go, especially women and children.
That is going to be a very interesting situation because one of the things the Bahamas has been struggling with is dealing with Haitian. That is going to be a
Yeah.
very interesting proposition.
I heard that. Somebody was saying that to me, and in fact, the person was saying too that a lot of the Haitians are working in that same on the same Abaco Islands and stuff because that's like where you have that whole tourist industry build up thing. So she was even speculating that probably a lot of the homes that you saw flattened and stuff may have been where they may have been residing as
Uh,
well.
Well, the Haitians live in what they call the mud area, which is a swamp area.
Right,
That is
right.
where they have built up, and that disappeared. The city just literally disappeared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
She was
just two
saying.
weeks ago, I saw them sending back home Haitians. So I'm saying to myself, life is so fun. So the person who just
Yeah.
spoke to that issue about opening up with us, these are very interesting conversations. Very
Yeah, and again, I was having a conversation with someone that about the uselessness of CARICOM because we have no kind of agreement to move our nationals from one island to the next. When things like these happen, it is something that countries will do, just with themselves. Like when Dominica was hit and Trinidad decided to take some people from Dominica for a while. But we do not have an arrangement to say, okay, we have shelters, which are schools, but can't we have a pact to say if your neighbor's island gets devastated in this way? Although it is school time, yes, you have to look at that aspect. But you have to bring some of these people over, open shelters, put them somewhere because they live nowhere. They have nowhere to live. Keep them for a month or two until something is sorted out for them at home. We do not have that kind of agreement, cooperation agreement among countries as CARICOM, and these are such simple things. So when these big guys meet and drinking their champagne and slapping each other on the back, these are simple things that they can look on and say, okay, let's decide to do this. So that when preparedness is not our strong suit, we don't like to prepare, we don't like to plan.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, John is reminding us here that Gabrielle is also out there, eh?
Yep.
Or Gabrielle.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to make the point just now that we're just about that area of the season when, because if you remember, Mario was the 18th of September.
Yeah.
So
This is
we're
the
just
active
about,
part.
yeah, this is the active part of the season.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
there's also something I want to clarify here just before people start getting the wrong impressions. First of all, there's a note here from Arthur Langine. Oh, John says, can we raise some money for Jerry to get a new headset?
Sure, it will be accepted. Sure, it will be accepted.
All right, that's going to be our first priority.
oh gosh.
Then Arthur Langine, when you guys were talking about those mugs a little while ago, Arthur Langine said, how can I get one? All right. So I see, I mean, just hold your mugs up again one more time, please. I see you guys sparked a lot of interest here. There you go. You got Lamoni.
Blatantly wrong about this.
Pardon me?
Blatantly wrong about this.
So,
Oh,
so
Agree.
Tory.
funny.
I
unfortunately,
agree.
unfortunately, somebody made a comment here, which I'll be very honest with you, I do not appreciate. Isaac said that he says, I ordered mine at a cost of $60 EC and I'm still waiting for it. As if he's giving the impression that these mugs are available out there for sale. Well, that is not true. So, OP, please, hold your horses, please.
But you can't tell me the order. You don't know from who?
Well, that's the thing here. Arthur Langine comes back and says, who did you order from? All right.
Oh,
So no, but I mean, when you make comments like that without thinking, it gives the impression that hey, these mugs are available, and I have not seen or heard of any of these mugs. I mean, this is something we only discussed. When was it, Bev?
Well, I just picked up mine.
Well,
that's a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
one.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
different one.
Yeah. No, but they so far they have been collectors' items. But I saw Margaret just post a a thing there that guys, mugs and t-shirts should be coming soon. So
Yes, that's something we are working on.
Oh, I
It's something we're working on. We had a little discussion. We had a little tete-a-tete a
hey,
couple of nights
however
ago.
you put it, I still have one comment. Don't go there.
And Jerry, you know what? There are going to be a lot of comments coming henceforth. Believe me.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are memes for so.
Arthur Langein says, I would like one of each.
Oh, great. Good. Margaret, write it down. Write
I
it
know,
down.
right? I know. I keep
Taking
that.
orders one time. And I think we need to do one called cell phone gates.
Oh, man. Yeah, cell phone gate. Yeah, cell phone gate. That take up the whole mug, man.
Oh, yes. That's all right. There are creative ways to do it. But, George, let's take a break and come back now.
Well, why not?
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grandans, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank. And there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair Supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair Supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan.
Alrighty, folks, we're back with only 4 of the usual suspects tonight. There's Margaret, and who's this character who's showing up mid-screen there? There's Margaret on the top left, Jerry below her, Bev to his left, and me sitting on Bev's head. Okay, now, I also want to mention here that we may be joined a little later on by Dwyer Estefan. Dwyer was a little bit tied up. Is it Dwyer who's going to join us later? Or is it Artie?
No, Athley's not joining.
Artie's
He
not
had a-
joining us, all right.
Right.
And,
He was
and,
pulled away.
and,
Blair
Kath-
says he may be late.
and Catherine is having some hassles with her internet.
Yeah.
John Kennison says, I hope Arthur has a large cupboard as more will follow in the collectible collection. Yeah, I imagine we're going to have some doozies, especially come election time. Huh? So we still have a couple of years to prepare. And Ernesto here is asking if we're going to be talking tonight about the Prime Minister's economy plan. I guess he means the National Development Plan for Grenada. They started up some consultations again. You heard about that, Bev?
Yes, actually. And when they did the initial round of consultations, I actually attended one. I went to one of these consultations, me and some friends. There were 6 of us, and when we turned up, we were the audience. There was nobody else there besides the presenters and the people who were doing the recording. So it actually turned out that we were the audience that night. I was else there was somehow involved with this 2030 plan. So of course we
2035, girl.
right 2035. So of course we participated. We put forth our ideas and suggestions of talk about where things are and where we think things should be going. So I don't know if any of that was captured in this draft, which they claim that they have out. But from what I heard, as usual, the attendance to the consultations was poor, and I witnessed that for myself. Because we turned up, we got there late, we got there about half an hour after the scheduled start time, because we were actually at another meeting, and then we decided that we would go over to the consultation since it was close by. So we got there about half an hour late, and when we got there, it was just us. We were the audience.
You know,
So,
Bev,
what exactly does this plan entail?
well,
I have not yet looked at the draft, but I certainly intend to read it to see what they put together.
the intention is to have a 15-year plan starting 2020, running to 2035. You know, any country needs to have a development plan, okay? So that regardless of what government is in office, you have a plan to work by. And that's what this is all about. But as I mentioned on my program this morning, I fear, and Bev, you just seem to be endorsing that, I fear that the turnout is going to be low. The reason being, Bev, Margaret, do you guys remember the run up to the referendum on constitutional reform? Do you guys remember how many consultations we had, and we kept on hearing about consultation here, there, and everywhere? And people actually went out and made their contributions. And essentially, those recommendations were turned down. So people are now asking, well, why the heck should I get out of my bed and go to these consultations?
Yeah.
And that makes a whole lot of sense because
And
I mean,
it's quite a number of issues. Number one, people are not informed about what you're going to be consulting on. A consultation is not a meeting where you stand up on a platform and preach to people.
Exactly.
If we're going to have a consultation about Dogo de mugs, about the Dogo de mugs need to be distributed so that people can have their thoughts and ideas together when they come to the consultation. But invariably, you go to consultations without any information. Full stop. The second thing, the consultations are usually poorly organized, very, very poorly organized. And the creme de la creme of the matter, they are never usually publicized in a way, in a broad context. So you're having this consultation, and the same group of people that organize it are the same group of people who know about it. So they are the ones who show. And the wider communities that are supposed to get involved in these consultations, it could be happening on their doorstep and they don't know. And you really wonder about the objectives of the people who are organizing these consultations because they are always, and I have been to several consultations right here in Grenada, they are always poorly, badly organized. And when people don't come up, when people don't show up, you always hear, oh, we had several consultations and people didn't come out. Duh! Come. The people are not going to come because it's just handled badly. They are not organized in a way to get people to come. So people don't come. And then, on the other end, for those who do turn up, whatever suggestions and thoughts and ideas you put forward, they are thrown aside.
Yeah.
So the exercise, it's wasted. Somebody just check a box on a piece of paper to say we had a consultation because they got some money to organize a consultation, so they had to do it. And they have to report that they do it. But whether or not the consultation achieved anything, it's never important. The only thing is important is that it happened.
There's a note here from John. He says, I looked through the draft today, and boy, is it a long, boring piece.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up, John. I'll drink 2 cups of coffee before I start reading.
You know, when we had the referendum, you found the people who were hosting these consultations, they were being so technical that I think they were going right over the heads of the Grenadian people. You know, you go out there, pardon me?
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I remember those referendum consultations. And those were not consultations. That was a vote yes campaign. Call it what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, there was never any effort to consult with the people on a referendum. There was a lot of effort into telling people go vote yes.
Yes, true. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it spins, it supports what we're saying about consultations and how they are organized and the objective of the people organizing them. Because you are going out there with something as important as a referendum, and the organizers really don't care about what the people think. They just come with an agenda, vote yes.
Yeah.
You know, and if you ask a question or if you raise some issue, you're a rabble-rouser, you're a troublemaker, what you're doing here, all kind of aspersions are cast on you, you get attacked personally, you know, all kind of things, and it's supposed to be a consultation.
Yeah. That seems to be rampant throughout the society, where if you have a particular viewpoint that doesn't jive with the majority or the other person, for example,
the organizers,
yeah, you get labeled and branded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's not encouraging to people to attend. And if you're there and you don't understand something and you ask the question, the same organizers will try to make you feel like a fool and try to make you look like a fool because you don't understand and you ask a question. So these consultations are just waste of time. And I think this 2035 master plan consultation, judging from the one that I attended, I think it was just another waste of time of consultations. And whatever is in the draft, I'm sure it's whatever the organizers themselves, for the most part, wanted in the draft, and that is what is there. And when I read it, I will see. So that, again, is another issue that we will have to leave the discussion on until we have looked at the draft and have some idea of what's in it. Because there's another round of consultations going on now on the draft, you know. And it's the same stupidness we're talking about. You just put out the draft. You put it out today, you start the consultations today. And you're starting the consultations in the middle of back to school when everybody distracted. People have not even heard about it. It's because of Facebook why I even know it's happening. Somebody posted something on Facebook and I saw it and I said, oh really? Consultations on the draft has started. People are distracted. It's back to school. Some of the schools not even open yet. And it's the same people that you expect to be engaged. Grenada doesn't have a population of 10 million people. You have 100,000 people and it's the same 20,000 involved in everything. So when you try to do this when the people are distracted, I again have to question the objective. Do you really want to achieve something or you just want to check a box?
Well, sure, I think the objective may be to just get a rubber stamp.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a lit project, so you have to spend the money. So you organize a consultation, you check off the box, yes, we did it, and you're done. Who cares what you achieve? Who cares if anybody comes?
Yeah.
You hosted a consultation. You have to pay for venue, you have to pay for speakers, you have to pay for this, you have to do that, you spend the money, and you're done. That's it.
Is there going to be a referendum at the end of this process?
I don't think a referendum is needed because,
I think George is being facetious on that one.
yeah,
Just asking.
yeah.
Just asking.
Yeah.
By the
We have
way,
had two in how many years? 2 and 4 years, 5 years?
pardon
Oh
me?
gosh. Well, remember, that the current prime minister had said there's never going to be another referendum as long as he's prime minister. And since he's the prime minister, I don't think we need to be looking out for any referendum.
Claude Putner says, consultation, consultation. I want a consultation on the phone gate. And John was agreeing with you here a minute ago. He said, he says, true, Bev. I asked a question. He went to one of these consultations, and he said it was a yawn. And he says when he asked the question, they thought he was from Mars.
Yeah, so
Could have been worse, John. They might have thought you were from Pluto.
or Venus.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right. So one of the things we need consultation on is one of the things on our agenda for this evening, on our menu for this evening. And it's the 2 lawsuits that have been filed against 2 CBIs, one in Dominica, one in Grenada. The one in Dominica, to put it in a nutshell, and I'm really sorry Athena's here tonight. The one in Dominica surrounds this gentleman, what's his name? Kim.
Scampoli.
These people have all these kind of names that are not familiar to my tongue, you see?
Scampoli.
Right, so he is suing Range Investments, which just broke ground in Grenada for fabulous things in St. David. And Mr. Campoli is suing Range Investments for his commission.
My camping is damn.
Scamp.
Oh, Scampoli.
So,
I not paying money,
I was about to say, forgive me if I mispronounce the name. It's unfamiliar on the tongue. It's like when you're learning a foreign language, the words just roll off your tongue because they're foreign. So it's a name which will not roll off my tongue till I learn it. So forgive me for mispronouncing it while I'm learning it. Okay? No offense to Mr. Scampoli and company. Right, so he is suing the principals of Range Investment for over $7 million United States dollars, which he says is his commission, which is due to him from the sale of passports in Dominica. If people don't pay him and he wants his money, taking them to court.
So hold up here. Range Investments is also selling passports?
Well, they're agents.
That's how they is it?
They're agents.
Oh.
That's how they make their money, girl.
That's how they make their money.
Oh, I thought they were the hotel people.
They are the
Yes,
hotel.
they are the hotel people.
So how they get into selling passports, especially government passports? I'm trying to understand. I'm seriously trying to understand.
Bring out the tiny violins.
They are given the passport to sell.
They are agents. They go around and recruit people. They sell passports and they get a commission. Yeah. And the government gets its fees.
What? Is that the same thing that happens in Grenada too? Is that how it works?
Same thing happening in every country. 5 OECS islands where passports are sold. They all have their agents. The agents go out and scrunch for business and sell the passports. They get the fees and the government gets whatever goes to the government.
Okay.
That's how it works, my dear.
Okay.
And it's a very lucrative business, as you can well imagine.
So you want to become an agent, Mags?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm a foreigner.
Since when?
Hey, since they tell me I have to pay $5.23 to go into Annandale, what's wrong with you? You man tell me I'm a foreigner.
Oh gosh. Right. So Mr. Scamfoley is suing for his commission. And in Grenada now we have Mr. Overson, another CBI.
He was the one in up in Lavera up there?
That's right.
Right.
All right, good. I'm
So
getting the names
now,
together now.
now he is suing the government he is suing the Lavera developers because he claims that the land which he was given to develop, they have sold it.
Hey, let's get into the soap opera business.
No, this is beyond soap opera.
I mean, this is a great soap opera. It has all the
Beyond soap.
elements.
I think
All
this is
the
beyond soap
elements.
opera.
If soap opera is joke.
I'm telling you.
Soap opera is joke. You know? And these are the things that come out. These are the stories that come out when these things happen within this thing we call the citizenship by investment, which I like the local balance for it, is selling a passport. When you talk about such things, you know, people will jump all over you and try to pretend that it's a respectable business, you know, and how dare you cast aspersions on it. Look at all the hotels that are being built. Look at all the jobs that are being provided. Look at all the wonderful things that are being done. So you mustn't talk about the people who have been arrested. You mustn't talk about all the scams that go on. You mustn't talk about the reputation of the countries that have been destroyed. You mustn't talk about the nationals who get harassed at certain borders. Genuine born here nationals who get harassed at certain borders because of passport they carry. The lengthy questioning and the scrutiny that some people go through because they hold passport where someone was where people come from that are suspected of money laundering and all of those things. So you have the country flag. So when you arrive there with your regular passport, they say, aha, another one. And you have to be grilling. Nobody wants to talk about those things, you know, because it's big money. And when there is big money, people shut up.
Yeah.
In with click or BACOL.
By the way,
Yep.
guys, just let me jump in here for a minute. You notice that we have begun talking about a sensitive issue here, and I'd like to point out to you that we have begun having internet difficulties, eh? So just please be guided accordingly, but please continue with your train of thought. Go ahead.
I didn't hear a thing that George just said.
Oh, I think what you were saying is that once you switch the topic to this, that he began having internet problems. So just be guided accordingly.
No. I have to cut it off. I'm sorry. In case there
Oh
is
gosh.
interference, we have to cut it down. We have to cut it down. Right.
Yeah.
No, but
Sorry.
we're sort of used to that by now. I mean, come on, time to try something new.
Right. So I think we have on this program and on other Grenada broadcast programs, we have gotten quite used to the interferences when certain topics are being
Come
discussed.
on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But
Right.
life
So
goes on, man. Life goes on, and we still have fun. Look, we can sit here and laugh, can't we?
oh yes, and that is why we do our show in a light-hearted way because nobody's blood pressure is gonna go up when the internet drops because the program is gonna be recorded and posted online anyway.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
exactly.
You know, no, it's not like the program is gonna disappear. But and as I say, I really miss Ate tonight because I know that Ate has some information on the situation in Dominica with the man who has filed the lawsuit that I really would have loved for him to share. But he's not.
Right.
He's not here, so we're going to go on and talk about the one in Grenada. Mr. Overson has filed a lawsuit against the Riviera Nature and Beach Resort, right? And Mr. Overson is part of this group, Grenada Citizenship Development Limited, right? And they are claiming loss and damages amounting to 19.6 million US dollars against the Libera Group, because they say this is what their losses have amounted to since the Libera Group has decided to go ahead and sell the property which they were supposed to develop. Now, people in Grenada will know the history of this Libera development. This thing started maybe about 10 years ago.
There's a long history.
Yeah.
Long time. And it has been through several owners.
Oh, okay.
Property was originally acquired from people who, as far as I understand up to now, some of them not paid for the lands that government acquired. And the very acquisition of the land was questioned because while the law allows government to acquire land for public good, you can't take away people's land and sell it to other people. You can't come and acquire my land because you want to sell somebody.
Why are you saying that? What would Rex have amounted to?
Well, it's the same thing. And that is
the point.
That is why they lost the battle in court.
Exactly what it was amounted to.
That's exactly why the government lost the battle in court, because you absolutely cannot take a person's private property to give it to somebody else because the other person wanted to develop or to do whatever they wanted to do. No. If the government is going to acquire land for public good, it has to be for public good. Build a hospital, build roads, something along that nature, not to give to private developers. And the lands in Rivera were acquired away from people, the little farm, the little spot, whatever. And as far as I know, people died without being paid
for the land. Yeah, I've heard those stories.
Yeah.
I've
heard those stories.
And I've still heard stories subject to verification that people have still not been paid for the same land. Is now in court 19 million US dollars, which someone is claiming to have suffered loss because the land is now being sold, has been sold to a third party, the same piece of land that they were given to develop. And it has just been massive destruction in Rivera. Place tear down, the place cut down. I mean, they put up a little thing here, a little thing there. Everybody's saying, oh, this is it. Development going to happen, golf course coming, this coming, nature resort. Up to today. And I'm sure if you check back the history of this thing, it's been about 10 years and maybe about 4 or 5 different owners. And there is still no result in Rivera. And now that this matter is in court, there's not going to be anytime soon. Because nobody can go up there now and drive a stake until the court make a ruling. And you notice when anything happens, why does Mr. Jerry George seem so distracted? What are you reading there?
I know.
You don't seem to be with us at all.
I know, right? Let's fire him.
Everything you guys did. I'm totally with you. I'm just trying to take care of the problem here. Continue.
Bev, you mentioned that the project had been sold, or the land had been sold, and Ryan Jaban says here, Livera sold to the Chinese, and I think that came out in the release that was issued by Overson from... Right? Well, John is saying here, John is asking a question. He says, Livera sold to the Chinese? They have just backed out of buying the Hillsborough jetty. So I doubt it.
Well, John, we don't know what's in the Marta,
Yeah, but I'd heard about Livera being sold to the Chinese some time ago.
Yeah, that's not anything.
Yeah.
That's actually not any accusation if you put it that way. And you have to understand that the Chinese have been...
Speak up, Jerry.
Now, see, I have to understand that the Chinese have been the biggest people behind this, not just in Grenada, in Dominica, in Antigua. That is why there's this ongoing instance in Antigua where they sold 200, they were given 200 passports to be sold to this guy. And before he could receive the passport, he was arrested back in China. The 200 passports haven't been issued. There's a big case going on now where it seems that those passports, the sheets, I can't remember the exact have been stolen. But even the commissioner of police has been implicated in this, and it's a case that I think is going to reveal a lot if it ever gets full ventilation.
So Jerry, what became of those 200 passports?
That's the question. That people have been selling them. Individuals.
Individuals?
The commissioner of police is involved. In fact, the commissioner of police mother. They found his intention, and they found his printing apparatus when they were going through customs in St. Vincent. His mother was implicated, and she was arrested because she went to Antigua. And that's where they say these things are coming from, because nobody has been able to answer that question.
Right.
I think it's Caribbean easy, you know. and I remember distinctly when the story broke, and the Prime Minister heard about it. He says, "How can the sheep, what they call those sheep, does that represent passports?" But people have been backtracking on it because of the story that the U.S. government has been paying very close attention.
Yep. So all these things happen in the background behind the beautiful facade of the CBI. But you notice that when you talk about CBI money, you know, it's always in the millions of dollars, and it's always in US dollars. So it's not no small game which is being played out there. And we have seen viciousness from people over that type of money.
Listen to me. If you're not greedy and you sell 2 or 3 passports, you have more money you'll make ever in your life, and you could retire. You hope with that. If you're not greedy, right?
Wow.
Especially the way Dominic could do theirs. The way Dominic could do theirs is they give you the passport and they say you have to put $150 million or $100,000 in the bank and your escrow account. If you sell it for how much ever beyond that, nobody asks you no question. As long as you put the $100,000 or the $150,000 in the bank, whatever else you get to do. Margaret, don't look so surprised.
Well, it's not so surprised. I mean, you're telling me that if you sell it for anybody else, so you can pay,
Margaret,
let's say $100,000, you get a passport, and then you could take that passport and sell it to somebody else?
No. You get me wrong. You get the passports, you're giving passports to sell.
Right.
But you have to put in the KP $100,000. But you could sell the passport for $300,000.
Yeah, you could sell it to anybody else for $300,000.
Not anybody else. The same one you could sell for $300,000 as long as you put the $100,000 in the fund.
Yeah.
Right, because as an agent, you can go to someone and say, okay, you can get your Dominica passport for $500,000. But from that $500,000, you only have to pay over to the state $100,000.
Okay.
Or $200,000.
Got it.
So you give the state what is due, and you collect the rest of the money as the agent. And the same money which you give to the state, you turn around and give it back to the person you sell the passport to, and call him a developer, and he's coming to invest. Yeah, but that is what happened. You know, you have this pool of money and you have this list of approved projects, and the same people who are supposed to be investing, getting money out of the pool to do whatever they're doing, and then the big brouhaha and ribbon cutting and champagne drinking about how they're coming to invest. They ain't investing nothing. They're spending.
And they're giving title to the properties.
Oh yes.
Amazing.
They own property.
Margaret is not proper. I can see it in her eyes. What is it?
I mean, no, and I'm thinking, okay, because, you know, I'm also thinking, but they're also dumb because you're also devaluing the passport eventually.
I don't care.
There's going to come a point where that passport is going to be
Yeah.
worth nothing.
They'll be rich.
You know,
No,
you're right.
you see, it's a race. The passport is
A race to the bottom, though.
no, it's a race between the passport not valuing anything and the CBI program coming to an end. Because it is going to come to an end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Come on, thing.
freeze for a minute here. Beverly, just this past week, we had Patrick Antoine on Sundays with George Grant. And Patrick is very confident that the CBI program is about to come to an end. He thinks this thing is passé. And I also want to, pardon me, I also want to notify you guys that we have now totally lost contact with Facebook. Okay.
Yeah. My stream ended.
Yeah. All gone. I mean, this is so laughable. You know, it happens right on cue. You touch on certain issues.
But I'm sorry for asking those questions and
There's
for
no
saying
cause
that
to
it's
ask
going
the
to devalue the passport.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
It's dope, Margaret. What else can it do?
no, I know. I mean, I'm just being facetious saying that.
I know you are.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is doing, and people don't care because
Yeah,
as long as you get their portion, they think the story is finished.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it, it's a big money game. These people don't talk in thousands, you know, they're talking millions and less millions. So when you have that kind of money floating around and the greed and the corruption and everything else that goes with that, it's murky waters out there. Murky, dark-filled waters out there.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
nobody wants to talk about it. You know, you see, I think the best thing to ever happen to these islands, and our due diligence is so rigid. Everyone who comes through has a halo around their head and angel dust at the feet, and they're just wonderful people. So leave our CBIs alone.
Yeah, you're sure right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure right about that.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, those of us who jumping up and blindly, without thinking, without even paying any attention to what is happening, because we can't think beyond $50, we can't think beyond the plate of food. But these are the kind of people who give legitimacy to these things. It's the people who give legitimacy to these things, you know.
Yeah, inevitably. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that situation, that is where we are, and maybe we need to take our next break and come back.
It took a long time to get there, yes.
Yeah.
I will get some water.
Yeah, I need to do that too. I gotta plug myself with a whole sip of water.
Margaret, you have a big cup.
Good morning, Grenlek Meter Reader.
Morning, Mr. Meterman. I'm glad I caught you. Last month, I got a very high bill, and I don't understand why.
Last month we were not able to access your meter, so we had to estimate the bill. This will happen if we don't get an actual reading.
So what can I do to ensure that my meter is easily accessible?
Well, you can get your licensed electrician to move your meter outside of the gate, or directly in front of the house. That way, I'll have easy access and I won't have to deal with your dog.
Ah, Butch.
Yes, dogs can be a problem sometimes. On one occasion, I was attacked by a dog and police had to get involved. Customers who don't want to cage or tie their dogs should really move their meter and make it easily accessible.
Well, I'll consider that.
Thank you.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, Pilgrims, we're back with Margaret, Beverly, Jerry, and yours truly. You guys got your water and your coffee and your orange juice and your coconut water and all of that?
Yeah, coconut water is mine.
Yeah. Jerry, whatever Jerry got, it's taking his voice away from him. We can't hear him. See what I mean?
Put a smile on his face, though.
I'm telling you.
Jerry, we lost you again, bro.
Yeah.
No, he has himself on mute. Unmute.
Yes, I am now back with you.
Uh-huh. For a minute there, we thought you were going through...
saying cocoa tea.
Oh, cocoa tea, excuse me.
I prefer chocolate tea.
Here we go again.
You know,
The never-ending debate.
You know, one of the things that make our trips to the beach so much fun on a Saturday morning, when we get through the walk and our swim, there's a little restaurant down at Wall Street there, and we go in there and you get fried bakes, baked bakes, smoked herring, saltfish sauce, fish cakes, and cocoa tea. Oh man, oh man, oh man.
Hi Rachel, welcome.
And you know they put what do you call it? Condensed milk in it. Cocoa tea with condensed milk is
that's the real thing.
That's the real McCoy.
Yeah. Sugar.
Yeah.
You see, I like my chocolate tea. I like my chocolate tea with coconut milk.
Yeah, absolutely.
No condensed milk.
But if you can't, I mean, just go burn off each other when you're done. Like Margaret?
All that milk will spoil the taste of the chocolate.
Oh, please. Oh, no.
Yeah. Welcome, Rachel. Rachel looked like she was putting down some beets and saltfish there, too.
See, she got caught. She couldn't even answer.
Exactly. So.
That's why in the morning. That's why in the morning.
That's for any time. You know, we like to put our stomach on this kind of regimen.
Oh, yes.
I believe you eat what you want, when you want, how you want.
Oh yes.
Exactly.
Oh yes.
Yes.
My plan is baked and saltfish in the morning. That's my
I eat it anytime I feel like.
That's right.
Yes.
Hi everybody.
Good night.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
You haven't heard.
Huh?
Yeah, you were saying something, Jerry?
I was asking, what's the next topic we are going to tackle?
Oh, the meetings of the British American and the keeper policy holders. You know, I think that's a good segue from these big money operations that leave people holding bags, empty bags. So I think this
$7 million bag?
Well, one is 7 million in Dominica, is 19 million in Grenada so far, and that's all in US dollars, you know.
These businesses, we only deal in us.
Yes, only dollars.
Only us.
Yes.
Only us.
Can you imagine how much work you would have to do doing what you do to earn 7 million US dollars?
And the thing about it is that all these guys just sign up some documents.
Yes.
That's all
they do. They don't break a sweat. They don't use no brain power. Well, I shouldn't say they don't use brain power because they, you know, but these guys have it easy, you know. Work 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. The paycheck is 7 million US dollars.
That is why when they catch them things, they must send them to jail. I'm sorry.
Jerry, you stop projecting.
I said that's why whenever they catch them in wrong, they must send them to jail.
Yep.
And that is why.
Unequivocal about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. But a lot of time they don't go to jail because they don't have money to buy out the whole system. So they never end up in jail. And the key tobacco issue is another one, which now we see people really trying to get back their money, or at least some of it. And there's a concerted effort now on in the Eastern Caribbean for that. Maybe Jerry can give us. Jerry should have some information on that he can share.
Yeah, let me say in preface to this. I am glad that at least people have gotten up to a position where they have, in a sense, the rebirth of hope. Because up until this new trust, people just, like it or not, had to accept the fact that that was it. So one has to applaud the work that has been done by Patrick, by Dr. Kenny Anthony, and some other notable persons in challenging this matter and pursuing it in the court, but along a different line. Basically, the line that they are using to pursue this matter is simply this, that you are carrying on cross-border sales, because that is what happened. British American was sold in Newfoundland, Antigua, in St. Vincent, in St. Lucia, everywhere. It was sold in all of these countries. And yet when things went wrong, what actually happened was that Trinidad made right its own people. Even though a lot of the monies that came to develop the companies in Trinidad, both people and British American, came from the island. But the government of Trinidad fixed the people of Trinidad. And that's the basis on which the case is going to be challenged. Because if they listen, according to the Chief Justice Chagarama, there's no us and them. We're all in the same thing together. And so therefore, it must be illegal for you to have a remedy for your nationality and to have ignored all of the other people. Yeah, all of the other people whose monies was also used to build the same business. You know? It's a very strong argument.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So we suddenly become responsible for everybody in the Caribbean. Nice. I always knew I hated CARICOM.
No, when you say that's what you mean, I don't understand, Margaret.
Well, Trinidad has to seek everybody else's interest. I thought the government of Trinidad and Tobago was responsible for their citizens. I'm not disputing, don't get me wrong, I'm not disputing that all the monies were there. But I would say, and this is my argument, that every government is responsible for seeking the interests of their citizens. If you sit there and you did nothing, that's your problem. That's not the problem of Trinidad and Tobago's government. They have a responsibility to their citizens.
No, but you have to also look at where the monies went. The monies went and benefited the economy of Trinidad and Tobago.
No, let me just add something here to what Margaret is saying. Money which the Trinidad government used to satisfy its people is not Trinidad taxpayers' money, you know.
Exactly.
Is money that the Trinidad government garnished from Pico Bight. And that money came from all across the
All the
area,
islands.
from everywhere. So money rightfully did not belong to Trinidad residents or Trinidad citizens alone per se.
And I have no argument to that.
So,
none at all.
Right. So if the
What I'm saying though is that Trinidad should not have to sit and wait for other governments who did absolutely nothing or made no moves.
But that is why, let me finish, Margaret. Let me finish. If the government of Trinidad garnished whatever resources there were in Pico Bico and have it all there, it doesn't matter what the other governments did, although I agree with you, they didn't do nothing. But regardless of what they did, there would have been no money for them because Trinidad would have already garnished it and have it there. So as far as Pico Bico assets and money and funds are concerned, there was none for the governments of the OECS to garnish.
Let me tell you something. I hear exactly what you're saying. And I will tell you that I know of multiple cases here in this United States where one can say similar things have happened. And you know what happened? Every single body who was owed rushed at the same time and stake a claim. So guess what happens? Then the court steps in and the court makes a determination as to how people will be paid. If you choose, and this is all I'm saying, everybody should have staked their claim, which would have basically put it in a situation where one person could not have grabbed everything as opposed to the other. But I don't agree with you because the impression I'm getting is that everybody seems to have a problem. Oh, well, Trinidad step in and make their people whole. That was the responsibility of everybody else's government. So from the time it happened, every single body should have rushed in and take their claim. Simple as that.
The other governments could not make its nationals whole because there was no monies in the coffers for the other governments.
That has nothing to do with it, Jerry. You sue anyway.
Then how do you make it whole?
What are they trying? Aren't they trying to do exactly that right now?
Okay, it might be belated, but the point is that.
So why didn't they exactly? So why didn't they do it then? That is the point. That is the point.
Whether they did it
People
late,
do not want to accept responsibility for their failures.
Okay, whether they did it late or early, the point is they have it staked, they have it clean, and that's the basis on which the case is being carried forward. If there was no stake and there was no case, there would be no case.
But Jerry, what I'm saying,
the treaty says you cannot treat in a cross-border situation, you cannot treat your nationals any different than the other peoples whose monies were also involved.
And I am saying that as far as I'm concerned, I'm not upset with Trinidad and Tobago. I'm upset with the other people who failed to do what they were supposed to do. I don't see it as the responsibility. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the treaty, and that is what is fundamentally flawed with the treaty.
Why is it flawed?
That one government has to be responsible for the interests of the entire Caribbean? No, it's not far and totally off base at all, because inevitably that's what it says. You say you can't treat one person differently to the other. I'm saying that your responsibility is to your citizens.
If it was Barbados, the responsibility will still be the same.
So how did Barbados pay their own?
No, wait a minute. I still believe, based on your arguments, Margaret, I don't think you're seeing beyond government. You are not seeing beyond government to see that what the government did was to take all the money from out of the Eastern Caribbean and say, we are going to take this money and pay to our people. That is what the government of Trinidad and Tobago did. So,
and I'm not disputing that, Devon.
And that is why I established that it's not taxpayers' money. So when you're saying, why is the government of Trinidad and Tobago being made responsible for other nationals? It would only be so if they were using the money from the taxes of Trinidad and Tobago, which they were not.
Well, okay, hold on, Bev. Let me help you. Because you have to understand a few of these things. When people run into problems, what's the man named again? The owner.
Dupre.
Dupre went to the government and said, listen, we think this company is going to collapse. If you allow it to collapse, it will cause a systemic problem. So you have to help us. Trinidad government recognizing that if indeed and in fact they allowed Clico and British American to collapse, it would be a drag on their economy and the rest of the region. So they jumped in and put in, I can't remember how much $1 billion they put into it. Okay? And it is based on that. Hold on. It is based on that somehow they seem to have wanted to act thinking they had the right to act simply because they saved the company. But
no, I just want to clarify, Jerry, that remember they didn't just put in the money, you know. They put in the money and held the assets.
Yes, well, that is
of course, because it's taxpayers' money they were putting in.
No, it's
yes,
it was taxpayers' money they put in to build them. They should have let the damn company crash.
You see?
No, you could say that, but it's not that simple. Because if they had allowed the company to crash, the economies of this region right across would have been in difficulty. That is why they didn't do it. They could have in a different situation, but the implications would have been stark, not just for Trinidad, but for all of these islands that had hundreds of millions of dollars out, if you just say let it go. No, if you say, Margaret, right, if you said to me, and I raised this point last night at the meeting, if you said to me that somebody should have turned around and sued the supervisor of insurance in all of these islands, 100% yes.
Because I agree with you on that too. I agree with you on that.
And listen to
and here's my other problem. Just before, hold your thought right there. You know another person? People coming and talking about, oh, well, you know, Dupre is sick and he has a guilty conscience. Let me tell you something. Down to every piece of jewelry, underwear, everything should have been sold. No. I make no bones about that.
Okay, I agree, but have you ever heard a Caribbean? Hold on a minute. Have you ever heard a Caribbean leader call for Dupre to be brought to court? Never.
No.
Thank you. Why?
And I've had a problem with that. That has been you guys have heard me with this over and over and over again. Why was this man not held accountable? And then people were talking that he was coming back to life again.
Yes.
Really?
He wanted back the company.
And he might still get it because of the state of affairs. He might still get it. Don't be that he couldn't. But you don't understand what is going on here. And listen, the reason why none of these Caribbean countries could be called into Dupre, Dupre did all of them favors. And if you only talk now, they think so they just have to.
So then just talk. So let everybody. No. You see, just talk.
I agree
pass him out before.
I agree
before. Exactly. But if he's smart, he should tape it and then talk. Tape it and put it in a...
Dupre knew, in collusion with the governments and providers of insurance and the regulators and all the rest of them, he knew they were not regulating his company. Yes, he knew that.
He knew it.
The auditors, the accountants, everybody was cooking books for him. And he knew that. And because they were doing that for him, he turned around and granted them favors in return. Just let things continue as they are.
Just bear in mind, one of them commissioners is now president of your ECCBA.
You see?
Anyway, let me go say something. Yeah? It is not necessarily, the crux of this is not that they were necessarily cooking the books. He knew that the supervisor of insurance were not making the demands that they ought. That is why St. Lucia, because former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Dr. Kenyan, made a point last night. St. Lucia is not a big player in this. Why? Because the supervisor of insurance in St. Lucia ensured that they made the deposits that they should against the business that they did. So if anything went wrong, people's money would go. None of the other countries did that. He knew that, so distract them. So when something goes wrong, there's nothing. He doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And that is why St. Lucia is out of it. But let me tell you, I was going to make this point. Why I find this really fun is this. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the supervisor of insurance sues RBTT because RBTT came, it's apparently, let me just use the term.
Yeah, I heard him here.
Right, it's the treasurer-like of this thing. But they didn't, somehow, I've been trying to use to try to understand the story, and I really can't say I can explain. But they these money should have been in accounts held by them. They were the treasurer of these accounts, whatever they were, okay? And they didn't do something. The insurance, the supervisor of insurance in St. Vincent is suing RBTT for failure to have done what they should have done to protect it. And I'm saying, how is the supervisor of insurance suing RBTT and nobody is suing his tail?
Yeah, I thought I heard him saying something like that yesterday on his stream.
Yes,
but I was distracted, so I didn't get the whole thing. But I heard about the suing of RBTT.
And so now it is
so the next question is, who is supposed to be the guardian of that deposit, or that insurance deposit? Who was supposed to be the guardian of that?
The supervisor of insurance.
So if the supervisor, if the supervisor of insurance is supposed to be the guardian of that, why is RBTT being sued?
Right, because apparently that is what I tell you. This is one aspect of this case I have not. Every time I talk to some of the bankers, they will give you a spin. They will never tell you the whole story because in these islands, people feel that they need to keep things up to speed. Whereas in other countries, you could use the Freedom of Information Act and get all the details. In these countries, you can't. So you have to. But whatever it was, they should have had a certain amount. They're saying that RBTT should have had a certain amount of money put aside, and for whatever reason, it wasn't there, or they didn't ensure it was there. It is the same principle on which the supervisor of insurance should have ensured that the deposits were put in place for these people. But he has the gall to go to RBTT. Right?
Well, I guess.
And nobody's suing them.
Because, in the world of lawsuits, you go for the biggest arm.
Exactly.
Yeah, the person with the deepest pocket.
Yeah. And that is why they should go for the free. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But they have won a case in the United States against Dupree. Okay? I think to the tune of $800 million. Some figure, $300 or $800 million.
Who won the case?
The judicial managers took the case of an American. So they used that and brought the case against Dupree, and they won the case.
Right.
So he is due to pay back that money. But as you know, these things, will he pay back if he say you don't have the money? All right?
Yeah, but I think they have seen some of his assets in
they have. But not to the tune of what he should be paying back. So that is why, for example, judicial managers are very cautious about what they pay and they offer, because even though the court gives them that claim, until they put their hands on that or convert the assets into money, they have nothing that they can pay back.
Right. And that is why the situation in Trinidad again is so unique, because Trinidad has liquid assets. They have shares in companies that are doing well, and they get the benefit of these shares, and they have money that they can turn over to pay back people. Other countries never had this kind of luxuries, and it is because of the way the company was set up as well. Because when things started going south, and people tried to claim, like in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they say, well, this is just a branch, you can't sue the branch. And by the time you went through all of these legal wranglings and realized where you
was no branch. It was no branch.
Exactly.
That was the key. If it were a branch, then you could sue it under its own right, because it would have been registered under the Companies Act of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Exactly so. But you realize that it was not even properly set up.
Nope.
Somebody just rent an office and put up a shingle. And this is the business.
So let me see. So Trinidad bailed them out. So who's going to pay back that money that Trinidad bailed out?
When is it Trinidad bailout?
When you said that they bailed them out in the beginning to prevent them from going south?
No, they get back that money already.
No, they didn't get back yet. They didn't get back quickly. What they have done, they have taken over companies like...
No, the money. Wait, Jerry. The money which Trinidad put in. Trinidad get back that money already out of the same things we're talking about, the shares and dividends and pieces of companies that.
Yeah, so how come nobody talks about Trinidad bailing them out?
just brought it up.
No. You said that, but in all the discussions that I've heard, I haven't heard about Trinidad
Okay, well,
bailing them out.
let me say a few more things. Trinidad bailed them out, and as I said, because Trinidad bailed them out, that is why we didn't have a harder landing of the company. But what his name was, Williams was the central bank man at the time, right? And that is why we didn't have a harder landing in terms of what happened. What Trinidad then did is they took over companies like Angostura, the public bank was part of it.
Yeah, they have some
Of course, because they have to get their money back.
Right. And the point is, these companies are doing
That's
well.
why they should have let them crash.
No,
Right.
and those are the viable companies that they had shares in. So they could put taxpayers' money in, and they know that 2-4
Not
years.
bailing out nobody.
Yeah,
which they did.
No, I ain't bailing out nobody. Let everybody crash and suffer together.
But why did look in the States in 2008, they bailed out the banks? Because it's the same thing. It would have caused a systemic
Mind you, they had to pay back that money. Yeah? The U.S. government, and this is what I'm thinking about. The U.S. government did that, but on the condition that they were going to think, so they had to pay back that money.
The point is
all of them had to pay back. So my question is, who is paying back Trinidad for that bailout?
That is what I'm telling you, Margaret. Trinidad get back the money already.
Right, so that's their money. Take the rest.
No. Let's get this thing step by step. Otherwise, we just put things. So, from what you're saying, Margaret, then America should have left the situation to collapse.
Why not?
Yeah? You know what I done to the world? As it was already, even when they bailed it out and they put the money in it, right? As it was, the world went through a tough time. Do you understand? If they had allowed that to go through what happened, see and these issues, systemic failure means it fails at the very heart of the economy, and when that happens, it takes down everything with it.
No, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand all of that, Jerry.
Okay, but you can't just say they should have let it fail like that.
But I'm saying then, in the interest of full disclosure, when they're walking around telling them stories, then tell the story that Trinidad taxpayers bail them out, because the whole story is not being told.
Who's not telling
the same people are walking around and saying, well, Trinidad take all the money and they run with it.
But no, I don't. I think
he's saying that.
No, Margaret, you have the whole thing wrong. That is
no,
why.
I don't, because you see, I listened to that thing, and I heard
No, but nobody is saying that Trinidad take the money around.
But essentially, that's what it turns out to be.
No. Nobody is saying that.
In fact, worse than that. What is the Prime Minister's name again? Kamala. Kamala agreed to pay back to the island $100,000 US. They paid $36,000 US, and they never made good the other 64, because after they had paid it, they apparently came up with conditions about how the money should be paid, and there was some wrangling between. They never paid the rest, and the government changed. Now, in law, the fact that Trinidad and Tobago started to pay, they have accepted liability.
Yeah, there's.
These are the things that matter. You see, we could let emotions run, but these are what matter. They paid 36. They didn't pay the rest. Even forget the rest. The fact that they started to pay means they accepted that they had a liability. And it is based on all of that why this case, I think, is going to really have a good ride. Because those are the facts of the case.
Right.
But unfortunately, I hope, my thing about this is that I hope we have learned our lesson in the region when it comes to these things. These are territories that we don't know. Much of our people, our business people, our government people just don't know this stuff. And so they do a lot of stuff, and then we end up where we are here.
Yeah.
Because nobody, inclusive of Trinidad and Tobago, was watching CLICO sufficiently. Because at the time, CLICO, British American, was the biggest corporate conglomerate in the region. It was a boasting right for Trinidad and Tobago, so nobody really watched them.
Well, and you know the first thing they always talk about the jobs, look how many jobs they provide. And that's always the calling card.
Yep.
So as long as you're providing jobs, you can do anything you want. Just like the CBI. You know, the jobs.
Wait, Carnival?
Yes. Go play a job. You can do what you want as long as you're providing jobs. They're not sustainable, not long term, but
doing their own.
We're good for now. We're good with that. Yeah.
But no, but seriously, coming back to this, and this case, I think this case has the potential to rattle even the Caribbean Court of Justice. Because it is the Caribbean Court of Justice who will have to adjudicate on this based on their original jurisdiction. Because all of us signed on to the Caribbean Court of Justice in what is called the original jurisdiction. And the basis of the Caribbean Court of Justice is to deal more so with the business aspect of our relationship, our contracts, our thought. That's the basis on which the original contract is written. And that is why they are going to the Caribbean Court of Justice rather than going to the regular court system and say perhaps appeal to the Privy Council, which will be the final thing. But they're using the Treaty of Chaguaramas and say, listen, this is what the treaty says. I think it's Article 35 or 32. This is what it says. And based on this article, you acted improperly. Now, will the court agree? There are 5 judges.
We'll see.
Yeah. But we have just a little bit of time left. And since we had mentioned it at the top of the show, we want to touch on the non-apology of the press to the media workers.
Well, you like confusion, eh?
What you need to apologize for?
Wait, we just need to give a little background on the thing, man. Must have been about 3 weeks or so ago, the press secretary came out with guns blazing, telling media people that they need to be respectful and professional when they come to the weekly post-cabinet news conferences. Now, it took everybody aback because nobody knew what she's talking about. Nobody has seen the press behave in any disrespectful or any kind of manner that she was talking about. So everybody wondering what is Miss Robertson, the press secretary, talking about. Anyway, she riled up a few people, and about 2 weeks later, MWAG put out a statement, MWAG, the Media Workers Association of Grenada, put out a statement demanding an apology, and tell her she needs to withdraw the statement and apologize for claiming that, well, I don't know. Let me go beyond what they said. They said she should withdraw the statement and apologize. And she needs to do it at the next sitting, at the next post-cabinet briefing. Well, post-cabinet come, Madam Press Secretary didn't even acknowledge a statement from the Media Workers Association.
But I have nothing new in the region.
Oh, Lord.
It's like it never happened. She conducted her news conference and go about her business. She didn't mention it.
No, but the people hold on, but you don't blame. I am sorry, that is where the media is. The media should have, if they really want to apologize, should have all walked out of that stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I also think
big time.
Right, and I also think that they took too long to respond. I mean, you take 2 weeks to respond, and I mean, I don't know, Bev. I don't know what you think, but I thought the statement was kind of wishy-washy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was wishy-washy is a good description, but I think it reflects the immaturity at the leadership level of because the young people who are there on the executive, they have no experience in handling these kind of matters, and unfortunately they do not seek guidance. They talk to themselves, they talk among themselves, and they do not reach out to people, whether inside or outside of the media. They do not look for advice and to ask how to steer something in a particular direction.
Right.
So the statement, yes, it showed immaturity and it showed weak leadership. how MWAG has found itself with egg on its face, I would say, in putting this out there, demanding an apology, and just being ignored by the same press secretary who's talking about respect and professionalism. She has totally disrespected them by ignoring them, not even
Yeah. But
acknowledging.
they stood up in our press conference. You see, if you're not prepared to go to the hill, just shut up.
Yeah,
And
and I'm with
I'm
Jerry
sorry.
on this. I'm with
No,
Jerry
no,
on
no,
this.
yes,
no, no, no. You
no,
don't
JJ,
I
need
am.
right?
I'm totally with Jerry on it too, and that supports what I'm saying about the immaturity and the lack of leadership among the young people. And I've said it several times in several different fora. This is how we set up our young people to fail because you give them that they're not yet ready for. The leadership of MWAG was not at that post cabinet meeting where she was supposed to apologize. They should have been there in full force, putting out a united front
Exactly.
to press whatever it is that they demand. But you can't make a demand and disappear. Really?
Exactly so.
Yeah.
Really? So I don't know how they're gonna come back from this. I know
There's no coming back from that.
I know they have said that they have options. So according to a news report I hear from the vice president that they have options and they're gonna meet and discuss the next.
But it's not, I mean, please, by now, you know that the whole thing is
Just leave
yesterday's
directly.
news.
Just leave
Yeah,
them
it
right
done,
there.
done, done. You
And
had to
move
respond
on.
immediately. And so when you came to the next one, you're right. Nobody should have been there.
Nobody should.
Yeah,
Nobody
And if
should
it
have been
came
there.
to it, demand it, if she didn't leave.
Or if they wanted to think, everybody should come on with something that talks about, something free press or something of the sort. And something,
exactly so.
yes.
Something, and
Yeah.
but it's just a reflection of the lack of leadership, the maturity,
I have a
setting
T-shirt
up with
from.
young people to feel.
You know what would have been good? I have a T-shirt from SPJ, Society of Professional Journalists here, and on it, it's like a graphic of a newspaper, and there are loads of parts of it that's blocked out, right? And then it says, imagine a world, with censorship. I can't remember the exact thing, but it refers to something with censorship, but it makes the point. There's a newspaper with almost all the paragraphs are blacked out because they've been censored. I mean, something like that. Even if you didn't want
Yes,
to boycott, whatever, but something.
some sign of protest, something. But again, and that is what I say, they are young people. They don't have a clue about this kind of thing. It's not never been involved in this kind of warfare, for want of a better description for it.
What it is.
They don't know what to do and they do not seek advice. A group of young people who don't know anything sitting down and talking to themselves. Who advising who? But
And half of them for the prime minister anyway.
well, half of them work with the government.
Story done rightly.
You see?
What people you have?
Half of them work. The president are working. Yes.
Well, there you go. Forget that. Just
You
move
see,
on.
so the whole structure of the organization does not stand up to issuing ultimatums and making demands. Because if you're gonna issue ultimatum and make demand, you must have a backing.
But I mean, I know Jerry say forget it and whatnot, but I still maintain the position. In unity there is strength, and if everybody decided to get together, then they can't do anything about everybody. But when you have people pulling and tugging, you will have the problem. So
But
even if there's
Margaret, that's the other question which is always asked and asked and over. Who does M represent?
Oh well, I tried.
Time up. Mr. Host, you need to wrap up your show.
Yes, we have 1 minute left. Anybody with a quick word?
It's yours.
No,
George?
no.
Any final words, George?
Goodbye.
Thank you to one and all. Thanks again for joining us. Goodbye.
Till next time.
All
All right.